So today I'm going to show you how to make a CC1101 module for the Flipper Zero. Hopefully it'll look something like that once it's done. I think you'll need is the actual CC1101 module. 3.3 volt converter. So we're going to convert 5 volts to 3.3 volts. Prototype board. It's 2 centimeters by 8 centimeters. Some header pins, and this is optional, but you can have some LED light just to show when it's on. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to cut the board to the correct size. So essentially, if you're following along and you have the same board, I'll put the link in the description. We have A that we want to cut off, and from M, and then also cutting from row 6. So let's just go ahead and do that. You can probably use some sharp scissors, but I've got these Knipex. They're really good. So once we've done that, it's going to look something like that. You can sort of tidy it up if you want a bit. Then we're just going to get some sandpaper. And I've just got, I think, some 600 grit here. So it's quite fine. So we've got to take something up. We're going to take that same shape as the module. So a little bit more. Let's just try back on again. It's looking pretty good. So I think that's we're done with the sanding there. Let's get rid of this. Probably use some water. It'd really help with the sanding, so it gets a bit more clean. So give that a good wipe. Might even need some bit of alcohol. Get some of that off. Next, what we want to do is essentially solder the header pins on. All we need is essentially just 1 to 8. So it's going to count 8 pins. Right. And with these, you can just easily just snap them off. So you don't actually have to cut it. You can just snap it and give it a nice clean cut there. When soldering it in, I like to actually put it into something so it's a bit easier to solder to the board. I've just got an Arduino shield here that I'll use. Probably don't want to put it onto your flipper, as you probably don't want to ruin it. And just heat up my soldering iron. Around 360 is a good temperature. So what we want to do is we want to line up the edge that we've sanded down, and that's going to be facing towards your body. And to space it out, what we want to do is to go down to the, let's start again. We actually need the bigger end, the one that we haven't sanded down, to face us. And then what we want to do is the second row and one spacing from the side. So it's going to look something like that. And we just solder it in. So just solder one side in first, and then just do the opposite side, and then you can solder all the in between. Done. So once that's done, it should look something like that. Next thing we want to do is get the 3.3 volt converter, and we just want to remove these pins. We don't need those for this, so we can just remove, what I like to do is remove the actual black piece of plastic. Then we can just have that held in, zoom in. And just take one of them, take them off one at a time. Just make sure that this side's flat, because we're just going to glue this onto the actual board. So that's done. So yeah, just make sure that side's flat. Next we're going to get the board again. With this and we're just going to glue it just roughly, like that. I think that's going to give us a good yeah, let's just glue it like that. So let's get some glue. Let's just put a little bit on the back, you don't need too much. So try to make sure the sides lined up. So edge to edge, and just give it a good press. And that's glued in place, so it should just look something like that. Next we're going to wire up this inverter. Just get some black and red wire for it. So I really like this silicone wire. It makes everything so much easier to solder. You don't need wire strippers or anything. You can just pretty much use your fingers, pull it off, twist. Get some solder. We can just tin the wire. And just don't need much overhang. That's plenty. And we're just going to solder it to pin 1. So pin 1 is this one here, so it's C, and that's the 5 volts. Let's put a little bit more solder onto it and use a helping hand. So this one's going to go to the VI, this one here, so voltage in. So it's going to run that to there. Just try to run it as neat as you can. I think that looks good. So let's go up and then down. A snip. A little bit of solder on these. Looks good. Now we're going to want to run the ground as well. So I'm just going to tin some. For this one, you want to put it into the actual converter first. Then we're going to want to run it to pin 8, but we don't want to chop the actual wire off because we're going to use this as a midpoint connection. So I can just pull the wire a bit, just so it's a bit exposed. Just give a bit of a bend. Just going to run the wire that way. Oh, so like that. And next we can do just another wire for the power. So it's going to be the voltage out. Back in. So we're just going to need 5 pieces of wire now. Just do it equal length if you want. Just tin the end, twist. The best thing about this silicone wire, you just use your fingers and strip them. Give them a bit of a trim. Now it's going to want to solder the wires on. So the 5 wires go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now that we've got the wires on, we want to put them in to the corresponding holes. So essentially these are the GPIO pins on the flipper. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And over here is where we're going to put it to correspond to these pins on the actual module. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pin 1 is the negative. So we've got the negative here. This one's already been stripped. So you want to just strip the wire as close to the hole as possible. So this one, let me take a little bit off. And just thread it down like that, and just pull it up. I'm just trying to make it. Pin 2 is the positive, so we'll get this under. Like that. Pin 3 goes to pin 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one goes there. So just mark it there. Just give it a good twist. Pull it up. pin 4 goes to pin 4 of the flipper. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put this one under. So we just want to try to run it as neatly as we can, and with the least amount of wire. So pin 5 also goes to pin 5 of the flipper. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pin 6 goes to pin 2 of the flipper. So 1, 2. So you want to have a bit of excess wire just so it keeps it in the hole, and we can trim it off a bit later. So don't And the last pin, or last one we have to put in, is pin 7. Pin 7 goes to pin 3 of the flipper. So 1, 2, 3. It's the last one. Let's put that through there. And it should look something like that. It does look a little bit messy at the moment, so a bit of a bird's nest, so we can tidy up a little bit. So try to get it as flat as you can. I have printed off these little spaces. They do help, but they're not required. So I might put these in now. So what these do is just help space the actual module to the circuit, the prototype board. So put one there, one on the other side. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is with the actual module is we want to remove the black plastic. You can use a screwdriver, or I'll just use my tweezers to carefully pry it out. You just don't want to damage the pins, so try to keep them all straight, and it should look like that. The next step is we just want to carefully make sure all the wires are still in place on the board. So it'll look a bit messy on the bottom, but what we want to try to do is line it up to this. So we should be able to just get the pins and just squeeze it in, and then sandwich. Essentially what we're doing is going to sandwich the wires in between, and just make sure all the wires are still poking through, and if they are, we can just keep squeezing, push it through. And I might just get another one of my spacers, because this will help space the back end. So it should look like that. If you just squeeze it, and with the spacers, it just gives it a good distance from the front and back. So that one's done. So it should look like that. And I might also put a little spacer on this side. Just so when we clamp it down, it's the same distance front and back. One fell out, that's alright. So we can start soldering it in now. And we just want to make sure the wires are pulled through. So I'll just do one side first, this side first, because it's got one of the spacers in. So I'll do one side and then we just alternate to the other side. That side's good. I might just move the spacer to this side, and then we can clamp down so it's the same. That's good. So we can clip off the ones that we've soldered on and we can work our way in. Just clean these up. So it should look like that now. We're pretty much near the end. What I might do is just glue the spacer to the front. The back's held in with the joints now, with the header pins. So that's solid, so it's just at the front. It's a bit. So this part's optional if you want to put an LED in. So this helps because we're running off 5 volts, so because the 5 volts isn't always on, it's good to have a bit of an indication if our module's on or not. So I just want to strip off pin 1 and pin 2, just because there's a bit of just to trim it down a bit. So the next part's optional if you want to put a LED in. So it's got this little SMD. So I've trimmed the pins so it's a bit lower. Just want to make sure the green is on this side for the negative, and then the other side is the positive. You can use it, include a resistor here if you want, but I'm just going to be lazy and I haven't had any issues, so I'm just going to do it without. And there you go. I think that's the little finished product there. I'll just test it out. So you just want to go to GPIO menu, make sure it's on. You'll see the LED is on, so it's indicating that the module is getting power, and it should be 5 volts. Well, not 5 volts, 3 volts, sorry. So it's been converted to 3.3 volts. Sub G, go to your radio settings, make sure it's on external, and go test. And there you have it. And I'll be putting a link up for the actual case that goes on top of it as well. I'll put on printables with the spacers. Hopefully this video was helpful. It's my first video, first DIY video, so don't expect too much from it, but hopefully you get the gist of how to actually make this module yourself, and enjoy. So please like and subscribe. If this video is helpful and people like it, I'll be making another one for the NRF24 in the future. Just leave a comment if you want that. If